Well, it's time to learn how to unlock data and deliver an omni-channel strategy with Salesforce. And we're going to hear how the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, CIBC, is doing just that. I'm Diane Mizota, along with Matt Clement, Senior Director and Industry Advisor, Salesforce, Lisa Shea, Senior Director of Marketing Modernization at CIBC, and Alex Kleiser, Senior Director of Product Delivery, Salesforce at CIBC. Welcome. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
being here. All right, now Lisa, let's start with you. Financial firms, they often have data silos and a lack of transparency that can make it really difficult to activate an omni-channel strategy. Can you talk about how you're approaching friction between marketing and the front line?
Yeah, definitely. So we're the same as any other bank. We have a lot of siloed data and a lot of siloed teams. And so historically, when we were executing campaigns, we were actually executing every channel independently. So you can imagine it was really hard to create omni-channel kind of experiences because we were actually relying on people and manual configuration to make that happen. And that's just not feasible to scale. And the problem that we often get is for the front line, we always get feedback that they have no visibility in terms of the type of communications that we're actually sending out to clients. So it creates a lot of tension because when clients come in, they ask about offers that they got in digital or email, and the front line has no clue about it.
Okay. And has Salesforce helped there? How has Salesforce impacted your operations?
Yeah, definitely. So I always like to look at everything as people, process, and tools because you need all three for any implementation to be successful. And Salesforce was really helpful across all three. So we brought on Data Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and Financial Services Cloud. And the great thing about having all of these suite of products is we were able to consolidate all of our data, all of our journeys, and all of our orchestration into one place. And that really helped streamline and automate a lot of our processes. But more importantly, because they're integrated, it allowed us to give that visibility to the front lines and remove that tension because now they can see what we're actually telling our clients.
And Matt, are you seeing that with other Salesforce clients in the financial services industry?
I think you guys are ahead of the game, adopting Data Cloud and engagement and going full suite. That's great, right? Yeah, I think transparency is a theme that we talk about a lot, and removing friction from the whole process, and the transparency notion of what people expect and what they want, but then also the transparency within the organization, from the upfront planning, what we're trying to accomplish, and so I guess I'm curious, like how far up and who do you engage with when you start to create that alignment exercise and transparency? How's that working for you? Because that's of paramount importance in my opinion.
I think you need alignment across the board and you need executive sponsorship because when you do projects like this, like you're touching so many teams and you're touching so many processes. And so how I always like to look at it is try to start with a blank slate. Like I always make sure that you're not building on top of broken processes. Like everything you bring on, you should try to streamline as much as possible.
And Alex, I'm going to ask you real quick about, people get worried about implementing new platforms and new processes. How would you describe the process of implementation with Salesforce?
Implementing new platforms, it's never easy at the end of the day, especially when you work in an organization like we do, where you have a lot of legacy systems that you have to go and integrate with. Salesforce ecosystem, there's so many great capabilities, modules that's helped really kind of alleviate some of those pain points. A key principle we have whenever we're looking to go implement and keep building on our foundation is also looking at legacy processes. So it's not just about the legacy systems, but what are those processes, the way that we work today, and making sure that we're not just bringing in a new modern stack of technology and replacing the old, but we're building out something that's helping complement, helping actually leverage those capabilities, and so we can drive efficiencies across the business, right? We really want to make sure we're maximizing on the ROI in our investment, and that's a key component of that. We've been, a big Salesforce shop. We're continuing to grow and trying to stay at the forefront of all the new capabilities being launched by Salesforce. And part of that is the partnership, right? Making sure that we're staying close with the Salesforce team on the ground, looking at what's net new, and tying that back to what we're actually building and what's in our business cases to help drive value for our end users.
Yeah, we can't leave the topic of the moment. AI, of course, how do you see AI integrating into your processes, and how is Salesforce able to help with that in your business? And what goals are you sort of driving towards?
So AI is a hot topic across industry. It's definitely a big one across the
Haven't
bank
heard
right now,
anything
too.
about it.
No. We're looking at really doing, we've got 3 use cases right now that we've been really kind of leaned into. So we're leveraging Einstein for 2 of those. We're also a pilot. We've got a pilot going on right now using Agentforce too, which is really exciting.
Can you tell us what the 3 use cases are?
Yeah, so we have one that's for back office, really helping with dealing with some of our complaint flows, helping really automate processes, taking a lot of time away that's spent with manual activity, actually creating letters for clients, and really automating that whole workflow. So that's a massive one. Another one is all about essentially taking work off the advisors and prepping for meetings. So that's our client meeting prep, and that's being able to essentially pull in key relevant details about that client to help make sure that we're having the best meetings we can with those individuals, right? You have a client that just walks in, they can get a very quick summary on everything you need to know about Lisa, so you can have a really deep, meaningful conversation about their client needs. And then for our Agentforce pilot, so we're with a very small group of users. It's gone very well so far, and that's really about essentially, making sure that we're reaching out to the right clients at the right time. So it's all about essentially building out, what we call our ability to kind of contact clients, right, over the course of the next month, bringing in the right leads, opportunities, and really focusing in on those right conversations. And so that's where we've been able to leverage actually Agentforce, looking at an individual scorecard, what they're being measured on, and pulling in the right items.
Yeah. Well, and this last question is for all of you. For companies who may be hesitant to jump in and get started with Agentforce, what advice would you give to someone who's like, I'm not quite sure yet, or maybe on the cusp?
So I can go first on that one.
Sure.
The way that we've approached this was that we wanted to really prove it out, and we wanted to get that buy-in, because although AI is, a very big buzzword, it's being talked about all the time, a lot of people still don't fully understand, its capabilities, how to best leverage it. And so the way we've approached this is looking at internal use cases to really drive optimization and efficiencies across the organization, right? We want to be able to show people how it can work, right? What it can do, and then continue to scale from there. And so that's really kind of how we've approached that when we think about, keep on building out on that foundation, right? So like the way I kind of view like our first, way that we've tackled these use cases, it's almost like creating a personal assistant, right, for our advisors, making their job easier so they start to have that belief in it, right? That gives us the momentum to keep growing that and building out that ecosystem.
Yeah. And Lisa, what about data and omni-channel strategy?
Yeah, I would say the same as Alex. Like, always start with the use case and what is that benefit that you're trying to deliver. What I would say is I think everybody has a tendency to start with activation because that's where the returns come from and that's where the exciting kind of experience is. But to always start with the data, because if you don't have good foundational data, anything you build will not be scalable.
And Matt, Alex, Lisa, Matt, thank you so much for joining us today. To learn more about financial services, you can go to sforce.co/agentforcefinserve, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. Thanks for watching.